What's up, comic book fans, and welcome to Comics Icons. Now, JJ, what they call me, and today we got issue number 41 of Miles Morales' Spider-Man. And if you missed out on the last issue of this series, then I'll go ahead and I'll put a link up at the top of the screen for you so you can catch up and then double back and watch this one. But when we last left off with this series, we found out that all the way back in Gang War, kind of around the time when this channel first started, Miles's newest arch enemy, Rabble, had reawakened one of Miles's worst villains that he's ever had to deal with in the program, the Assessor. But after the events of Gang War, Rabble had gotten arrested, and we heard nothing of the Assessor. In fact, we didn't even know this had went on during that time until the last issue of Miles Morales, where we got the flashback scene showing what she had did. And unbeknownst to Rabble, the Assessor had actually woken up on its own and kind of programmed itself and detached from her without needing her aid at all, only for him to show up at the worst possible time as Miles had confronted Rabble face to face at his shrink's office of all places, and then attacked by the Assessor, still at the shrink's office. Sacred land. But if you guys are ready to find out if Miles and Rabble are able to get out this jam and if they're able to work together to defeat the Assessor, then you guys know what time it is. Let's get it. So we kicked this issue off right where the last one ended, when Miles had snatched up Rabble and webbed up out of that jam because he was getting his ass kicked by the Assessor. But when we pick up here, they just crashed into, I think that's her family store or something like that. But once they get in, she's still upset that she got snatched away from that fight because she didn't really ask to be rescued. But now she's telling Miles to get his hands off of her. She's not appreciating that. And Miles, meanwhile, is like, well, I kind of expected some gratitude out of this. I just saved you from this absolutely insane program. An enemy that you resurrected, by the way, because you got a death wish. And she calls him a coward, but he ain't stunning. He's like, whatever. But then she tells Miles, your suit, something's wrong with it. Because remember, Miles had got a few upgrades since the last time he saw Rabble, before this previous issue, of course. So she hadn't seen this Wakandan tech suit. But she tells Miles, your suit, something's wrong with it. And he tells her that it's the self-repair. It doesn't usually take this long, but the Assessor, he must have messed with it when he grabbed him. And she responds to Miles that he was likely testing its security measures. That's what she would do. But where did you acquire this suit, she asked. She tried to talk to it, but it's like it doesn't want to listen to her. Tell me why, Miles, she asked. But Miles is like, yeah, I ain't no chance in hell I'm about to explain how my suit works to the lady that blew up my house. Let's just be real. But she's like, I'll find out one way or another. But now Miles is like, well, what the heck is your deal? How long are you going to hold up this grudge? And she's like, as long as I draw breath. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry about what happened. It wasn't my fault. Which is true. She's mad at Miles because he won the scholarship for the Brooklyn Visions Academy instead of her. But I mean, hey, that's the way the game is played. You win some, you lose some. But unfortunately for her, she lost everything after that. And she tells Miles, I don't care if it wasn't your fault. You won and my family still paid the price. This shop is what's left of my family legacy. And Miles is like, I couldn't control that. But then she continues, or should I say what's left of my family, all because you and your precious little system couldn't recognize real potential, real gifts. You don't understand, Miles, and you'll never understand. All you do is pity me. Poor Raneem Rashad, the little orphan girl who couldn't catch a break. But I was through being pitied. So you know what I did? I started digging for secrets, the kind only machines would know. And she's like, this city is alive with information. And I found the one thing that hurt you as much as I did, the Assessor. And I remade it better, bigger, stronger, smarter. Because I wanted to watch it dissect you with my own eyes. I wanted to tell it to take you apart piece by piece. And Miles is like, yeah, well, and where did that get you? Because by my math, you played with powers you didn't understand. And now you're here with me. All them smarts, all that power, and you're still here beside me. Did it ever occur to you that maybe you're the problem? And she's like, what did you say? You want to fight me to see this through to the end? Then help me stop the Assessor and I promise I'll give you your shot. And reluctantly, Reneem agrees to this deal. And while she decides to go off and get prepared for this upcoming fight, Miles takes it upon himself to phone a friend for a little bit of backup. And he says that this might take a miracle, but I hope you get this, because we're going to need all the help we can get. And then we pick up in a digital space with the Assessor as he's replaying all the events that just happened, this fight that just went down. Triangulating location of subjects. 95% probability subjects Reneem, Rashad, and Miles Morales will form alliance. Alliance has suspected failure rate of 42%. Subject Miles Morales, more hardy than previous encounters. Analyzing of subject suit complete. Vibranium mesh confirmed. Review, suitable host shell confirmed. Acquisition of new biome beginning. So he wants Miles' suit. And then we pick up in the real world, in the Cape Killers facility. Well, the abandoned Cape Killers facility. Acquisition of this material is of the utmost importance, as prolonged survivability is desired. And he's basically talking to himself in the digital space. And he's like, agreed. Supplementary materials nearing completion. Subjects operating under the proverb, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Then the only logical conclusion is to present more enemies. And the Assessor has created an army of Assessor robots. But then we pick back up with Miles and Reneem as he walks in on her planning, and he's like, wait, what? You got an emergency pack of Takis back here or something? And she's like, yeah, Takis won't save us, Miles. And he's like, well, that was a joke. You do understand that, right? And she tells him this is a design I had perfected after gathering intel from our last battle. And Miles is like, oh, wow, a new suit. What a surprise. Yay. But she's like, that's because you have no imagination, Miles. And she puts on this dope new suit. And then she says, the Assessor wishes to find us, then let it be greeted by the envoy of death. Prepare yourself, Miles, and be sure to carry your share of the burden. And he's like, shut up, Reneem. I know what I'm doing. I'm that team up dude. Everybody want me on their squad. Just don't fly off the handle. And stop looking at my suit like that. It's creeping me out. And she responds that I stare because your suit intrigues me. It's tech like mine, but this language, it's like nothing I've heard before. I know the suit understands me, but that it ignores me, I do not like it. And Miles is like, yeah, well, still, I'm not giving you my suit's lore. Let's just chalk it up to perks of Wakandan tech. Which, I don't know about y'all, but I kind of feel like he just messed up right there. Like, why did he even tell her that it was Wakandan in the first place? Less is more, Miles. Less is more. But then he continues, but more importantly, we need to figure out how to destroy the Assessor again. He's usually tied to a server, but this version is different. He shrugged off my venom punch like it was nothing. And Reneem chimes in, reinforcing its body with hard light tech was the first improvement I made. And let me guess, you did that with Beyond Tech, Miles asks? And she says, yeah, of course. External servers are too cumbersome. I embedded Assessor's routines in this device and reinforced it. We'll need to destroy it, but it will not be easy. But just as they've gotten this program open looking into the Assessor, he responds to them. My Resurrector, you have been found. Let us thank you for this gift. And she pretty much just accessed the Assessor. And it's kind of like a two-way radio. You looking for me? That means I found you. And Miles' spider sense goes crazy. Meanwhile, Reneem hears a bunch of voices. She's like, the voices, there's so many. As a litany of Assessor robots crash through the ceiling as the Assessor leads the charge, telling them that this final experiment draws to its end. But Miles, meanwhile, is trying to move this fight to a different location. We can't fight here. We need to get away from civilians. But Reneem ain't hearing it, and she's ready to fight. Machine, you thought you could take control of my machines away from me? I will cleanse you, virus, and I will enjoy every moment of it. As she starts cutting down these Assessor robots. And then has a sort of Venom Blast punch of her own she uses. You stole my Venom Blast too? Miles yells at her. I improved it, she responds. But then the Assessor puts a stop to all of this. Children, that is quite enough. As he unleashes arm upon arm upon arm, some crazy looking spider form that he takes. And Miles is like, what the heck? What kind of upgrades did you give him? And she responds, none that we can't handle. And the Assessor's like, oh yeah? Let us put that to the test. And he flies away carrying both of them while slamming against everything that's in their way. I would thank you, my resurrector. You have given us the ultimate gift, freedom of thought. And then he slams the both of them to the ground. And what a marvelous gift to have been bestowed. But still, we find it to be lacking one thing. Then he picks up Miles. Yes, I've spent much processing power trying to understand what has changed within you. And we think we know. Your suit holds the answers we need. Conclusion, complete dissection necessary. And he forms his arm into one of those Terminator T-1000 blades and gets ready to cut into Spider-Man. But Rabble jumps in. The killing of Spider-Man will be the honor I alone shall hold. And she comes at him with her tech blade. But the Assessor just puts up his hands, like, away. And then he sends his robots to take care of us, to take care of Rabble. My attention is required elsewhere, he tells her. Meanwhile, Rabble's got knocked into a coffee shop full of innocent civilians, and the people are like, oh, damn, it's always something in this city. But as Rabble gets up, just as one of the patrons of the shop is trying to check on her, and then gets blasted by the Assessor robots, Rabble's like, yeah, I won't have what is mine taken by these machines. But the machines tell her, your part has been played, Reneen, and your gifts are no longer required. And she's like, yeah, well, I'll show you the extent of my gifts. And she charges up and goes right back into action. Cuts these robots down. I am the envoy of death and my reach is wide. And they respond to her, Reneem, our numbers are countless. You know you can't stop. And she's like, I know you are machines and you can be broken as easily as you were built. My regret is not rebuilding you. My regret is that you are not programmed to feel pain, though this look of defeat will do for now. But then the Assessor switches it up on her. Is this how you treat your creations, little one? And it stops Renee. What did you say? And he continues. Are you so full of rage at your failures, Renee, that you would bring ruin to your father too? And these Assessor robots have now taken the form of Reneem's father, her deceased father. Perhaps I was mistaken in asking you to share your gifts, little one. Pressure will make a diamond of you yet. And she's like, no, while tears fall from her eyes. No, you're not my Baba. He would never say that. Meanwhile, as we see Miles is dealing with some problems of his own with the Assessor, and the Assessor tells him, my predecessors were smart, but fragile and ineffective. Reneen was correct in her thinking. Storing our mind in a server was a design flaw that needed correcting. And then the Assessor takes that blade and he cuts himself into two. This dude is freaky, man. We found more security in the form of this hard light body, he tells Miles. The durability is leagues above our previous form, but still, it has its limitations. Renee was quite innovative in her design, but she's only a child. We need something more sustainable, something only the best minds on Earth could engineer. This, as he tries to plug into Miles' suit. What are you doing? How we've missed your screams, Miles. If we could feel joy, we would no doubt feel boundless amounts of it right now. As Miles thinks to himself, the suit's locking up. It feels like my whole body is on fire. I try to reinforce my suit, but I can't even tell the difference. You resist. You wish to prolong your suffering, the Assessor continues. Then let us put this durability of you and this suit to the test. Employ combat protocols. And they get to whooping the crap out of Miles. Suit's compromised, Miles thinks. Every strike hurts more than the last. Need to think, figure something out. I just need... Oh God. No, they're gonna... Assessment complete, Assessor says, as he slams Miles into the ground. Conclusion. Suitable environment for new routines. And Miles pleads, please, no, you don't have to. Yes, we do. And Miles thinks to himself as his mask comes undone, rib gone, shoulder dislocated, can barely breathe, feeling so tired. Stay awake, please God, not like this. Someone, please, help. And just as Miles begins to pass out, a prayer asked, who is this, he asks. A web plucked, he's responded to. A miracle requested, and Anansi shows up. Anansi plucks Miles out of this situation, and thus the spider god of stories would answer your call. If one champion will not do, then perhaps two shall suffice. Haha, yes. And he snaps his finger. And now Spider-Man is still on that ground with the Assessor, but he's awakened. And he's like, Anansi, what did you? And Anansi responds, a favor was owed, so my debt repaid. Meanwhile, the Assessor looks up and he's like, analysis impossible. Calculation error. Fight well, my champions, Anansi says as he leaves. Anomaly. And then another voice comes in, right as the Assessor is thwipped with a couple spider webs. You're not going to believe this, but I think I took a wrong turn at the Baxter building as Peter Parker Spider-Man joins in this fight and kicks the crap out of the Assessor. And Miles is like, Spider-Man? Queen's finest, he responds. Hey, when did Ultron start a ska band? Whatever the hell a ska band is, if somebody knows, y'all let me know. I don't know what that means. And Miles is like, Peter, is that really you? Well, one and only. Well, not counting the clones, he responds. And Miles is like, oh God, I'm so happy to see you. I see you met Anansi. And Peter's like, yeah, sure, we go way back. But also your suit. And Miles is like, dude, your suit. Because both of these dudes got some suit upgrades. And I haven't really been keeping up with Peter Parker Spider-Man issues. I know he did get some kind of new suit, and I think it's like an alien tech or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. But he tells Miles, yeah, it's technically more of a partner than a suit. But I'll catch you up later. And Miles responds, yeah, mine's seen better days. Peter's like, yeah, it looks like some sort of nanovirus. And Miles tells him that the Assessor, he's trying to put his mind into it. And then the Assessor comes back. An unforeseen interruption. One that will be thoroughly corrected. We have been too patient, spiders. No, too cautious for fear of damaging too much of the subject. Lest we miss out on valuable insights. Review, parameters of engagement adjusting. Conclusion, full engagement unavoidable. Reconfiguration complete. Combat measures engaged. And the Assessor has now reassessed this fight, and he's got more of his Assessor robots, and it's about to go down. As Miles is back to back with Peter Parker, he says to the Assessor, if a fight with the Spider-Man is what you want, and Peter Parker finishes that statement, then a fight with the Spider-Man is what you'll get. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the issue. So what did you guys think about this issue and the inclusion of Peter Parker joining in on this Miles Morales issue? Did y'all see it coming? Who did y'all think that it was that Miles had tried to text? First thing I thought of was Tony Stark, because that's who helped him defeat the Assessor first time around. But I like this. Miles had been dealing with the Spider God a lot, Anansi, over the past few issues of late. So it was good to see Anansi show back up and bring in a little backup for Miles. I thought that was pretty dope. But what did you guys think about this and the inclusion of Miles and Rabble fighting together? How y'all like that team up? Are y'all looking for more? Are y'all looking forward to more team ups, or can y'all not wait till they get back into being bitter enemies and having the best fights against each other? I know I am. But you guys know I want to hear all your thoughts and theories down in the comments. And as always, if you guys appreciate this channel and you want to help out the channel, then you can do so by dropping a like, sharing this video, and subscribing to the channel for more icons in the comic book world. And you can also help your boy out by hitting that hype button. But ladies and gentlemen, it's about that time. I'm out.